I'm praying to God that where there is any aberration in my thoughts, the good Lord should forgive me. I have been a favorite child of my God. I had a Muslim father and also a Muslim mother. And my mother was made the Yasuno, the head of all the women in Ijebu. So when they want to make me Aṣíwájú Onígbàgbọ́, I kept on repeating it. And a lot of the elderly women, Christians and other way, kò ní wọ́n ó deserve, and they were singing kò ṣòro, rárá kò ṣòro. And Awujale took a whole page of a Guardian and wrote a beautiful, it's in my book. Now, my mother was the only educated wife my father had. We had two very well-known Christian families in front of us. The Mafes of the Otubushin stock, Aburo, the later Awujale, Mrs. Mafe, and also a member of the Arojo Joy house, which is the name we want to adopt now. Because we found that Fcmb, Baba ni Jadiara. How can we leave Jadiara and all the others? Many. So actually, we will come at the right time. A resolution was taken 3 years ago, and I hinted at Awujale. But I didn't want to be racing it, because people carried rumor that I was going to get one of my sons. And they even zeroed on my number 3. I still have Bolaji, about 57, Jide, about 53, Ladi is only 50 plus, and Boyega, the youngest, Tofoyimbo, is still there. But the rumor was so much around. Tony Awujale, ọ̀rẹ́ fẹ́ betray, mo fẹ́ gbé kẹ̀dẹ̀wá ní orí yín ní òpè. Mélòó lẹ máa ní mò ń bá Awujale jà? Awujale and I are like this. Yeah. So why Iye Subomi? My mother, being an educated had a sewing institute. Táwọn obìnrin máa ń wá tán wá ń kọ́ sewing. Mrs. Mafe had, or then they have. Because my mother was a Muslim and almost all the young Muslim women who wanted to learn sewing, ọ̀dọ̀ màmá mi ló ń wá. Then somehow she was liked by many people, even if they were pretending, because she was number 4. They were not expecting any prominence. Being educated, Papa will English, and the other wives would be listening. But what amazed many people was that my mother was so humble and was calling Mama all the other people. Although she had 1 or 2 more wives, but my mother, Mama me agbe Bíbélì ama kà fún gbogbo wa. The wives and existing. Then the weight on Ogojo nínú Male. So enlightenment, she was popular among people. Iye Subomi. Yeah. When they had me, they had Ola Subomi, Ola Iwola, Ola Dimeji, Ola Onipekun. Ola Subomi came. My father was from the Balogun family. Balogun Odunuga was my father's grandfather. My mother was from the Olisa family. Papa, Karim Olisa, well known, and this thing. He was a business baron in Ilaro. The enlightenment of my mother, people like her. So Iye Subomi was. So that was why I went and built a children's ward, see Ìjẹ̀bú General Hospital, named as Subomi is a ward. Yeah, because she was educated. When I was 3 or 4, my mother had started teaching me ABD and ABC. She even took a lesson teacher for me. The man was, employed somewhere. I think he was a teacher. He was the first to call me. So when at 6, my father put about 4 of us into school, I was so precocious. The second year, not for me double promotion, I went to standard 1. My cousin Bayo Kuku, Folabi Kuku, and so one Oba Abbas of Ìjẹ̀bú, I was the youngest. Then before I left them, they brought Olu Adeniji from Jos. He joined us. I'm only 3 months older than that one. July not be. May his soul rest in peace.
The former Minister for External Affairs.
External Affairs. You all know it. Kabisi, Ayobanjo cousin. Many people, Justice Chonoiki, my late cousin. No, younger than me. I was his teacher. Yeah, he was a classmate of Awujale's. Yeah. Wọ́n pọ̀. Surely by the time tí máa 4, mo ti ń ka ABD, mo ti ń ka Ogwe. So my dad, because he went to the grammar school, said I should go and take the entrance exam to grammar school. I was taking. I only spent 1 year there, and Mobeba dad me. My younger brother was already in Igbobi College. Nibani Monlati Law. Mowa Law. But in Tunde Igbobi, standard 5, Lonika was Cambridge. Standard 6, Lonkangba. So I was the first set to have a school certificate in class 5, and I made a grade 1. From Igbobi College. When I finished, the federal government set up a college in Ibadan, Nigerian College of Science, Arts, and this thing. I was one of the people, they selected all grade 1s. I was one of the students there. Ayobanjo and I made 3 clear subjects. Then we went. The same age, Ayobanjo, July long, May ni Alaye. Morope, the good Lord has his way of doing things. Somehow, I believe I'm one of the anointed children of my Maker. And I was just joking with someone. They said, Uncle, you could hardly say 2, 3 words without referring to God. And I said, Timilo, that's the way my life has been. I mean, look at me. Among many of my contemporaries in Ìjẹ̀bú, people knew that I was very prominent in churches in Lagos Cathedral. Baba Odutolaku, hardly 2 weeks, rumor had been going on. And when they did it, elderly people who were voted for, I had 78. Some of them had 10 or something like that. I keep on saying, Temiloluwa, Temiloluwa, Temiloluwa. Oh. If you, even in my ordinary life, how did I, as a lawyer, become the head of an investment bank? Law ni mo ṣe, but mo máa ń carry oríṣiríṣi ìwé. I have a friend, Kolada is my most, ó yà ọ́ náà lẹ́nu. Many people will tell me why I come from a Muslim home. Even though gbogbo Ìjẹ̀bú ni, tán bá wo àwọn Ṣíbọ̀gùn tù, Bàbá Odùtọ́lá, Bishop, Sule lórúkọ ẹ̀, Bàbá tí many Ìjẹ̀bú started. The story is in some of my articles. Yeah, ọmọ olówó joyè méjì pọ̀. Ó jẹ Balógun tán, ó tún jẹ Sẹ́ríkì. Ó jẹ Dàgúrèwé tán, ó tún jẹ Àwùjalẹ̀. Ó jẹ Àwùjalẹ̀, ó tún jẹ Dàgúrèwé. You see, the thing is that the good Lord loves me, but I can't boast. I'm always very humble. I go out of all my way. I mean, typical dad. Odutola and my father were the first Ijebus to be appointed court clerks. They were not just court this thing, they were registrars, and they were also administrative this thing. So my father, sometime, they left Ijebu Grammar School in 1929. I believe, yeah, 1902, not be on. Yeah, they were. My father was just doing court engineering. Because my mother was educated and the youngest, won't bring me around Chagamu, Waterside, another thing. But at 4, my mother focused me on education. And that's all I've been doing. I taught. Even many of my students were much older than myself. For instance, Bayo Kuku, one Oba Abbas. I was very young and I was brilliant. My mother did it. God did it. My mother encouraged me. I said I was going to. At about 13, I rode a bicycle to Balogun Church and converted. And with the help of the later Bishop Shegun, on my own, between me and you, mo rò pé Ọlọ́run kàn fẹ́ràn mi ni. And I've always been níwájú. Archbishop Vining Cathedral, they invited me recently to say something about my relation with my God. I only wrote something for the audience of the church, but nearly 30 people were asking me. So we had to print some copies. You need to read some of my books and speeches. Ọlọ́run ló ṣe. A ní èmi pẹ̀lú 4 siblings wa ní bàbá kó sí school ní 1940. Ìgbà tí mo padà wá ṣe teacher ní 1953, ẹ̀gbọ́n mi kan pẹ̀lú àwọn ẹni tí mo ṣe teacher fún. Then the exposure to Lagos at an early age, I became something else. I got to Igbobi. I made a good grade 1. I got into the LSC, London School of Economics, without my knowing anything. Mi ò ṣe politician. Government of Awolowo ní kan lọ train me as a legal draftsman. Dr. Elias, the then Attorney General of the country and Chief Justice, òun ló pick me. Then I was the first black face to be seen in the British Parliament walking. Ìgbà tó máa ṣe independence kìíní. And gbogbo bí Ọlọ́run ti ṣe fún mi tí mo appreciate yẹn. Some of my ẹ̀gbọ́ns, wọ́n rò pé mo arrogant. No. I like the beautiful things of life. And ẹ̀rín kan máa ń pa mí ni. I have beautiful homes. Ìjẹ̀bú, this one, and London, freehold. Gbogbo létí ń dẹ̀gbé were my own. I first built the first house in Apapa. Then I moved to Victoria Island. Ibẹ̀ ni Fcmb fi ṣe founder's place. Then columns and the pagoda, èmi ni mo introduce presidential house in Washington ni mo lò. One of my friends is dead now. When he knew that some detractors didn't like me, he said, mo ti sọ fún yín pé kẹ́ fi Subomi lẹ̀. Gbàtà wa ti wà kékeré ni bàbá yẹn ti ń kó kéréwú sí lọ́wọ́ tó ń wọ suit. Ẹ̀wọ̀n tí ì ṣe. Surely the idea of white, èmi pẹ̀lú some friends la ní tá bá dé stage kan, mi ní máa wọ nǹkan kan mi ju white. I have kept my promise, mi ò take you away. Immediately tí mo jẹ oyè tán ni, ìgbà tí mi joyè yẹn Ọ̀túnba, mo ìwọ agbádá dúdú, but bí ti like funfun tó yẹn, if you get to some places where you have most prestigious textiles and other things, materials, tó bá mention Ọ̀túnba Balogun, well, gbogbo èèyàn ló mọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀, Joel and Sons, wọ́n lè máa ń ṣe fún mi ni. The same thing, well, as I said, you are my nephew, mi lè boast fún ẹ. I'm riding my 13th Rolls Royce. I still have 7. 2 old ones mo ti gbé fún. Sórí ìgbà tí mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ṣe gbogbo kìíní, ó ya even my mother lẹ́nu. I got to a stage tí mo tún wá ń kọ́ àwọn ẹ̀gbọ́n mi, àwọn ọmọ bàbá mi,